Good morning, Larry Sprinkle here, along with Chris Mulcahy. Good morning, and here it is. It's the day before, the day before, the day before what we've been talking about. This big winter storm system, all eyes focused on what's going to happen over the next several days, especially for the weekend. And Chris, it's been, the maddening thing about this is that we talked about this earlier. That it's not something that's out there right now that we can say, yeah, it's sitting over wherever, over Tennessee, and it's said this way. Hasn't even developed yet.
Yeah, that's the most maddening part of forecasts, and you have that for severe weather events, but usually you're able to see it a little bit closer out. But Larry, we're now within 72 hours of the event, so that means starting likely tomorrow, we're going to have our first winter storm watches, and then even the warnings by the end of Friday as we get within 24 to 36 hours of our first big snowstorm here in the Carolinas. It's been quite some time.
Has been. I mean, you have to got it back to December 2018.
Wow.
I do remember going back in time. It was January of 1988. We had 12.1 inches.
Wow.
Officially, but here's what's interesting about that. Talking to people at the National Weather Service, we probably had closer to 14 inches back in 1988, that many years ago. We've had the two computer models that we use basically for some of our wintertime forecasting, the Euro and the GFS, and they were completely contradicting each other. Every model run up until just this morning, things are coming into more agreement. And you look at both of those, you can see, well, gosh, they're very similar. The one difference is in the Euro, you can see the extent of snow or heavier snow all the way from the mountains in the foothills, a little bit less in the foothills on the GFS. But Chris, I mean, that is kind of interesting that the agreement, they're coming much, much closer together.
So the way we can boil this down, by the way, the light blue, the dark blue is a range of 2 to 4 inches. So what this is really showing is one, they're starting to agree that likely that rain snow line, see how tight of a gradient is where it goes from the white to the blue and then the purples. That really shows that that rain snow line likely is going to be right over Charlotte. So that it of course makes the hardest to forecast, but also the agreement, as Larry had mentioned, I did a measuring tool on this just before noon yesterday. That leading edge was a difference of 95 miles. Now it's within that 20, 30 mile per hour, not per hour range, 20 to 30 mile range. So that does show that it is pretty much on track. And that's usually around the 3-day time frame that you can see that when this comes to fruition, what it's going to do.
And I know a lot of people, the excitement level about, hey, Charlotte and snow. And, I still think, and Chris and I were talking about this, that we are going to still see in the Charlotte area, we're going to see all those wintry precipitation types. We're going to see rain to freezing rain to sleet to snow. I think that's all here. And that's based on temperature levels. Once you get into the area along the I-40 corridor to the mountains, that snow. Interstate 85, we're right on that line right there where temperature plays a major difference in what falls from the sky and what we see outside.
This is also showing that I think Charlotte will see snow at one point, but it's not really the main event. I think Charlotte is looking at more of an ice situation, which in my opinion is worse. I would much rather have the 8 to 12 inches of snow compared to any ice accumulations. But any sort of winter weather is something that we have to be alert for, especially in the Carolinas, because they don't really handle it as well. But I think you will see snowflakes flying at some point on your Sunday. It's just a matter of when it's going to set up. I think it'll start as snow, changes over to more of a rain and ice event, mixing in with sleet, then back over to snow before it's out of here by Sunday evening. And Larry, I'm going to bring up now the track. So you were mentioning that it hasn't even formed yet. This is where it is on Saturday morning.
Yeah. There you can see. That's basically over the midsection of the country. So that's Saturday morning. That's why this event, this is more of a really late Saturday night and all day Sunday event, as that area of low pressure tracks across the Mid-South and heads right up Georgia, maybe like following Interstate 85 right into our area, pumping all that Gulf moisture into the colder air, which is going to be right there. Cold air is going to be trapped all across the area. So we're definitely going to have the cold air in place. And it's just a matter of the timing of the event and the exact track of it, because if it changes a little bit of its course, a little bit goes more north, then obviously we have less of that snowfall potential. The farther south it goes, the more that we're going to see. That's the maddening part of this, and the thing that just you pull your hair out saying, well, we can't tell you exactly what's going to happen because we're still fine tuning the exact track of it.
Yeah, regardless, we're all going to be under a winter storm warning. We can expect that. It's been quite some time. It wasn't, it's like, as Larry said, December 2018. But this is also a classic setup. Notice that high pressure system to the north. So this is called a Miller A nor'easter setup, and I'm going to show you what that exactly looks like. Now, this one is taking a different turn, but whenever a low passes really south of the Charlotte area, kind of hugs the shoreline, and you have a high pressure system that filters in that cooler air, that's the best chance for the mid-Atlantic to get hit the hardest. And that's exactly what we're seeing, that snow potential is going to race its way up. And I'm going to bring up that graphic for you real quick. I think I had this one from earlier. Look what happens when the snow leaves the Charlotte area. It moves pretty much following the Appalachian Mountains all the way up into New York. So this isn't just a Carolina event. It kind of blows up to the Mississippi Valley, really turns to a big snow event in the Carolinas. But this is one that the area is going to be talking about for the next couple of days. And back to that surface map, notice when this arrives. The timing really doesn't start to hit until the early morning hours on Sunday, but it's still here for 24 hours. And that colder air filtering in, even though the low pressure system's covering it up, since the low is tracking directly over the Charlotte area, that's usually that rain snow line. That's what makes this forecast so tricky, Larry.
Definitely so. And once again, it's all timing. Now, this is obviously this is based on computer models that that area right there of low pressure could change a bit. The timing could change. It could slow down, and that means later arrival. And does that mean it extends into Monday? I think regardless, as Chris was saying, prepare for, yes, a major winter storm. Have all your preparations done, I would say, by tomorrow if you can. Already we had a lot of comments saying they've gone to grocery stores and things are already being sold out. Make sure on Sunday you have a full tank of gas in your car. Make sure that your phone batteries have been charged. Make sure you have a backup in place, lots of flashlights, because there is a potential if we get enough ice, and some of the computer models indicating we would definitely get that here. You're going to see the potential for an ice storm. That means trees, power lines, power outages. I would say be prepared for that, regardless of whether we get an inch or 10 inches of snow in the Charlotte area, because I think, though, as Chris was saying, we're going to see a lot of ice potential in the Charlotte area north of here. That's going to be so. Travel will be very difficult.
And that's the biggest change I think that we have seen. I think sleet was better possibility yesterday. Yesterday, the temperature profile changed for the better, but just show you the graphic real quick before I go to those temperatures. The timing is way too open right now. I pretty much have all day here. This is really 2 a.m. I think there's any chance that some light snow can start moving into the Charlotte area, but the highest precipitation rates will be right when that low pressure system's over us. So, Larry, that means pretty much mid to late morning. That's the window that I think is the worst, because as far as temperatures go, we'll be in the 20s. That's where freezing rain could add up real quickly, because you were showing a graphic earlier this morning that close to 1.5 inches of rain could fall from this event. And if that turns over to any sort of winter precipitation, that's just not good.
Not good at all. I mean, and there's the rough, we always say meteorology that, you can say an estimate, if you had 1 inch of rain, it equates to blank amount of snow. In some cases, 10 inches of snow, but it all depends upon temperature profiles. It could be a little bit less. Regardless, 1 inch of rain does mean that there are going to be areas with quite a bit of snowfall, especially north of here, up around Statesville and Hickory, all the way into the mountains of the Charlotte area. Yeah, we're going to see probably that kind of mix of everything. But here we're having this conversation, and it's still developing, and we've seen a lot of changes so far. It could change again, Chris.
Yeah, we've seen a bunch of changes so far. But here's what Larry was mentioning for this snowfall potential, kind of just picking up when everything's happening. The mountains, you're used to this. You're going to see snow. That you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to be an ice event for you. That's the one thing that I think that we can absolutely agree on, Larry, that there's going to be significant snow in the mountains. They just had a pretty decent event, but those purples and pinks are showing anywhere from about 6 to 10 dare I say, a foot of snow from this event in the mountains, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly that potential, and they've had it before. As I said, The last really big one that we had, if you go back 2008, then the 1988 we had over a foot. So I mean, not to say that's going to happen here, but regardless of that, we are going to see in the area, we're going to see wintry precipitation, which means in the Charlotte area, it could be ice, it could be snow, a mixture, freezing rain, sleet. The worst scenario, as Chris was saying, would be any freezing rain, because that's just a coating of ice on everything.
Yeah,
Once again, it's better to be over prepared for this event.
yes, and I'm going to bring that one up, and it's a little bit of a delay. So let me show you this. So here's the one of the worst case scenarios I'm seeing. So this is the European model for ice accumulation. Larry, we were looking at this morning, and it showed 0.18, 0.25. Now this is showing much higher totals. Now, likely a lot of this is going to be mixing in with snow and sleet, but seeing these numbers just as a thought is a major event, because look at these temperatures. The temperatures are only going to have a high of 33 degrees on Sunday. So that means most of the day on Sunday will be below freezing. That supports sleet. That certainly supports freezing rain, snow. I'm not going to say the worst case scenario, because still a lot is going to change, but this is one that we can't just say, oh, nothing's going to happen, don't worry about it, because the word significant is used in every single National Weather Service discussion.
Absolutely. And we'll be here. We'll keep an eye on this. We're here throughout the day. Basically, you can just count on us 24/7 to let you know what's going on. Obviously, our news at 11:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll be here all morning and overnight as well. So just keep it right here, WCNC.com, WCNC Charlotte. And we'll be here. Thank you, Chris. And have a great day. And stay safe and be prepared.
I'm ready.